That means all the experience points go just to us.
Right, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Went on the longest whale tour I've ever been on in my life. It was like 4.5 hours on a big catamaran. Thankfully, it had stabilizers. But my wife thought it was only going to be like a 2-hour trip. No, it was like 4.5. And yeah, we were out on the water for quite some time, but we did see several humpbacks, and we saw 3 humpbacks. There was a female and her calf, and then a solitary male. And the male was evidently getting pissed off because of all the whale watching boats that were out there. He was coming up and trumpeting, and it was quite amusing. And then we also saw a fin whale, which is actually pretty rare because they don't have to breach or anything in order to dive. They can just hump their back and just sink like a submarine. But yeah, we saw them. So yeah, that was kind of cool. And we were going to go on the USS Constitution, but it was closed because, stupid us, we didn't realize that it was not only the Navy's birthday, but also the Constitution's birthday. And on the same day, they had a class of cadets that were graduating. And so they loaded the cadets up onto the Constitution and actually sailed it out into Boston Harbor. So that was kind of cool that we got to see it, actually doing ship things rather than just being in port. But we didn't get to tour it, but we did go to the museum. And it was trippy especially walking around the naval yard and stuff, that you're in person. And if you've ever played the video game Assassin's Creed 3, you walk the same exact places. So like I'm walking around, I'm like, oh, I recognize that building. Oh, and I know that building. And if we go over here, the armory, yep, there's the armory. Yeah, it was really weird. But
assassinated people from there.
I know, right? Yeah, and we did a trolley. They had these buses that were shaped like trolleys, and we did a tour around the city doing that, where you can just hop on and hop off. And so we saw, we drove past Cheers, of course. Didn't go inside, but we drove past Cheers, and we're planning on going again because there were a couple of places. Like we didn't get to see Paul Revere's house. We want to go to the Green Dragon Tavern. There's just a bunch of stuff. It's an amazing city. It was an unbelievable trip. It really was. So, sorry to anybody watching. We're just going over my vacation. This is why we weren't online last week. We will be picking up where we left off 2 weeks ago. Kind of. We're going to ignore some things. And but before we get started, I'd like to thank the Friends of the Greenwater Guildhall. First on that list, if you're watching on Twitch, scroll down. You should see some tiles there. If you don't see the tiles, click on my profile image and those tiles should pop up. First on the list is the Speechless Bard. She and her husband make beautiful leather products for your tabletop role-playing games, such as a leather dice mat for rolling, and when you roll it up, it looks like a spell scroll. She also has a full line of dice bracelets if you want to show off your geekiness, and just amazing products all the way around. She does all of the work by hand. She's just incredibly talented artistically. So yeah, if you're going to order from her, if you're wanting to order something for Christmas, you might be out of luck. With the shipping concerns and things going on, you may not actually receive it until June. So, I mean, it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. So, under normal circumstances, if you were ordering for a gift or something like that, I would say give yourself a little bit of extra time because she is in the UK. But this is a special circumstance. So don't be impatient if you do order from her. She is working and doing her best to get it to you. Next on the list is Fable Beard Company. Fable Beard Company makes beard products such as oils, balms, butters, and co-wash. They have a full line of spray-on cologne, and they've just recently come out with eco-friendly, aluminum-free deodorant. Each of their scent profiles is a different fantasy character. Right now I'm wearing one of their fall scents, which is the Harvester, which smells of fresh apples. They say there's fall leaves in there, but I don't smell fall leaves. I just smell apples. Very wonderful scent. But I'm sure that they have a scent that would agree with you. If you go to fablebeardco.com and create an account, they have a buy one, get one free offer. So go ahead and put in a product and a beard oil, and if you use the code FIRST when you're checking out, you will get that beard oil for free. And if you are a fan of our Traveler game on Wednesday nights, we do have a website via Obsidian Portal. Go ahead and click on that tile and check us out. The adventure log is written in the manner of news blurbs from various organizations detailing the events as these yahoos get their way across the Trojan Reach, and they're pirating and pillaging. If you like the page, please give us a fan like, and we hope you enjoy it. So where we left off, the last thing that happened, and we're going to gloss over a lot of things, Thomas Blackthorn's idea of dressing up as the Goblin Chieftain was correct. Spellix Romwad, the gnome, used disguised self to make himself look like Thomas, and then you all just walked back out the front door, and Thomas, in the goblin suit, then used his stealthy techniques to escape from the Goblin Citadel. However, I would like for Sam and Turpin both to make perception checks. 18. Wow. Okay.
Ta-da! Ever since I had those cataracts cleared up.
I know, right? I went in for laser surgery, and now I can see everything.
Genie laser surgery.
Yes. Which is probably better than lightsaber laser surgery.
Yeah, especially Kylo's lightsaber. You get a lot of splash damage.
Yeah, right, yeah. Like a rusty scalpel. What'd Sam get?
19.
Okay, so you both noticed that as you were leaving the Goblin Fortress, you look up and the goblins have recently returned, and they have this large robotic humanoid structure, and this thing's like 12 feet tall, and it's not moving, and the goblins don't know what it is or what to do with it, and so they are stringing it up with ropes and hanging it over the archway that leads into this ramshackle fortress that they've built, and it's just hanging there. Like I said, it's not moving. It doesn't look like it's in the best shape. Like one arm looks like it's partially torn off, but they're using it as decoration. And you kind of make a mental note. You're not sure what this thing is, but it's clearly old. And you proceed on your way and you go back to East Haven.
So just for my clarity of mind, this is like some sort of a mech warrior or something like that, a fantasy robot?
Yeah. Specifically, I will let both of you make an Arcana check. I don't know that either one of your characters would have actually ever seen one of these, but you may know roughly what it is.
Yeah, I'm not proficient, but I can roll a die. Oh my gosh, I can roll a great die.
Yeah, you can.
Never studied Arcana, but boy, howdy, do I get lucky sometimes.
So you recognize this thing as a shield guardian. You have heard about shield guardians, not exactly sure what goes into constructing one or, how they really work, but you know the basics that a shield guardian is often used by wizards and sorcerers as like a bodyguard kind of thing. And usually, from what you've heard, that these guardians are controlled by an amulet of some kind that will activate and deactivate them.
Okay, so these are a special type of golem.
That
has an amulet that controls them.
Right. It's been so long I forgot some names here. Oh, I didn't tell you the worst part. So we get back to Portland. We hiked the half a mile to get to the baggage claim, and we're waiting.
Yeah, but at least you didn't have skis.
This gets better. So our bags come out, and I see my bag, and my bag's open.
Oh no! They picked you as one of the drug.
Oh no! So the front pocket on my suitcase is not open. It has been ripped open. The zipper is busted. The lining inside is torn and ripped, and the contents are gone. What was in there? 2 D&D books, Ghosts of Saltmarsh and Storm King's Thunder. In Storm King's Thunder was the bookmark given to me, a dried Edelweiss bookmark that was given me by my grandmother. That's from World War II. It is gone. And inside were the photos that we got coming off of the whaling boat that were of me and Kate. I mean, we only paid like $25 for them, but they're irreplaceable. We'd have to go back and do the trip again in order to get those photos back. All of that's gone. And I'm like, I was pissed. Because, let's be realistic. As a baggage handler, your job's not that hard. You have to pick it up and put it where it needs to go, and figuring out where it needs to go is done by a computer. All you do is scan it with the laser gun, and it tells you where it needs to go. All you have to do is put it on the plane and not destroy it in the process. It doesn't seem like a really complicated job to me. But here we are. And so, yeah, I was livid, and so we're...
Yeah, they'll give you $50, for the pain and suffering.
Well, we're in the they're trying to figure out value and whatnot to pay us back. But as a customer service perk, they're like, oh, well, we'll give you $100 credit on your next flight with us. And I'm like, does Southwest Airlines really think that even for free, after what you did to my luggage, that I want to fucking fly on your planes? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of customer service is that?
They've made a corporate decision that what they really want masochists to fly on their plane because they can provide them the worst possible service and get away with it.
That's exactly true. Yes. Yeah. So I have, luckily, Amazon is quick, and I was able to replace those 2 books. And the reason why I had those 2 books is because I have 2 campaigns that I have to plan for. And so in downtime and traveling and whatnot, I was like, well, I'll just read these books. And, yeah, so.
And they basically, all this happened on the return, like when you got back here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably happened in Denver, I would imagine, but who knows for sure. So,
empty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and the thing that gets me is they didn't even bother. You're a baggage handler. There's a bag with the front flap torn open, and obviously there's got to be 2 books laying around in the cargo hold somewhere. They didn't even bother to put them in like Lost and Found or send them to the Southwest baggage desk. They did. Who knows where those books are? They may have dropped them somewhere in the air over Denver. Who knows? It's just absurd. Yes. Like I said, I was beyond pissed off. Hold on here.
All right, well, just don't take it out on us. You're poor players.
No. Here we go. So Vaelish Gant, you get back to East Haven, and they pay you. I don't even remember how much.
I think it was 25,000 gold apiece. Dang it.
Probably close. Let's see. That's on page 140. That sounds about right. Let's see here.
You know, this is the players checking to see if the DM is listening.
Right. Actually, it's not far off from that, I'm pretty sure. Or just wonder about that.
So back to East Haven.
Yes. 101. Here it is. They are giving you message and offers reward of you each get 300 gold pieces. Is what the payment is for that.
Nice.
They were the sheriff of East Haven is a bit disappointed that you didn't bring the Goblin Chieftain's head. As soon as you basically get into East Haven, Spellix Romwad thanks you for helping him out. Offers the possibility of a favor at some point to be unnamed in the future, and leaves the party and goes off to do his own thing. The sheriff, not realizing that the chieftain of the goblins was really a goblin, or really a gnome, pays you. Is a little disappointed that you didn't bring the chieftain's head. He doesn't. I don't know. What are you telling him about that whole debacle? I mean, are you going to tell him that, you know, the goblin wasn't really a goblin? Are you going to tell him that there was no peace treaty? How do you want to explain that to the sheriff?
Well, Sam Schmarble, do you have any? What's your opinion on how we should approach this? Otherwise, go for it.
I got no clue.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm still trying to piece together what the situation is right now.
Oh, well,
so,
okay.
So Gabe, Thomas Blackthorn, we're just going to say that his plan worked because honestly it was the best one. So he put on the gnome's goblin suit. If you remember, the goblin chieftain was really a gnome wearing a goblin suit, a disguise. So Thomas Blackthorn put on the disguise. The gnome, being an illusionist, cast disguise self on himself to make him look like Thomas. And so you guys just walked out the front door. Then Thomas, being the rogue that he is, used his stealth techniques to sneak himself out of the Goblin Fortress at night. And so you have now traveled back to East Haven and gotten paid. But the question is, what do you want to tell the sheriff of East Haven about? Because they basically said, you know, if there's a peace treaty, go ahead and hold negotiations. If there isn't a peace treaty, bring us the Goblin Chieftain's head.
Yeah.
Both of those are both true and false at the same time. So I don't know how you want to handle it. You got paid either way, but what do you guys want to tell the sheriff about, you know, the events that happened? I mean, you could tell them the truth.
Well, yeah, that's my inclination is to tell them that there was never a peace treaty that was even possible, because this was actually a ploy by a captive of the goblins who had fooled them and had taken he fooled them into being the goblin chieftain in disguise. And so basically, I don't see any reason not to tell them exactly what happened.
Right.
And because they need to understand that yep, and you know, as a independent, I've gone and seen them, and I can tell you how this place is laid out and estimate the numbers, and that these are vermin. They're exactly what you think. There was never any. You don't need to make any plans that might involve goblins becoming enlightened or anything like that. They were scumbags. And so sharing that, and I also think that I don't really see why I shouldn't. They paid me to go and do this, so I should share that. Not only like the layout and defensive, all their defenses and how they're, basically eating themselves as well as anything they can find.
Definitely.
And the golem that we saw, the shield
guardian.
What is it? Guardian. I would share that with them too as something that we saw that was unusual. That the goblins didn't seem to have any clue as to what to do with it. They were just treating it like a piñata.
The sheriff looks at you and he says, "Oh, they probably found that in one of the ice flows. Sometimes relics like that from the old Netherise Empire pop up. It's probably completely useless at this point, but it's unlikely that goblins would be intelligent enough to find a way to activate it or to repair it."
Well, yeah, they were awful and horrible, and there's no reason politically to consider them anything other than vermin and a threat to civilization in that area.
So he thanks you for whatever maps you kind of scrawl out for him and the information that you give him. And he buys you, the three of you, because don't forget, Vaelish Gant is with you. He buys the three of you a meal for the night and a couple of pitchers of ale. And thanks you for your time and goes off back to sheriffing. Vaelish Gant digs into his food and he says, "Nice fellow, that sheriff. So, our next journey, I suppose, since all of these little minor hiccups are taken care of, and since both of my contacts have either fled off into the snow or have been burned at the stake, I imagine that now's the time. In the morning, we should be leaving, and I will take you to this Lost Spire of Netheril."
That's excellent. We've been traveling through this area, so we're prepped. All we need to do is replace our consumables. We've got our dog sleds and all that jazz.
Right.
Cold weather gear. So we're becoming veterans of hoofing it through this frozen hellhole.
So in town, obviously it's going to take Thomas a little bit longer to catch up with the rest of the group. He has told you to go ahead and move forward, and he will catch up. He, in his journeys back to East Haven, meets up with a Warforged barbarian. And the two of them travel back together to East Haven. And you will learn more about this Warforged barbarian next week.
Thanks.
So in the morning, you have a little bit of time, of course, to replenish your supplies. I would say that, really you haven't, well, that's true. You were at, Jarl meat. It will cost you each 1 gold piece to replenish your spell components that might be needed, and another gold piece just to replenish all of your rations, so you're full up. If you have any ammunition for any ranged weapons,
not me.
Yeah, 2 gold pieces if you wanted to replenish any ranged weapon ammo.
I'll spend I'm going to use my 2 gold pieces to repair the fingertip of my glove when I rolled a natural 1 on my...
Blew your finger off.
I blew the tip of my glove off. It was... I don't know if I would share this with the sheriff or not, but they have a mind flare issue down there. We lost Fronda to some illithids came in and took her away.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she went crazy and then just disappeared.
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah.
Strangest thing ever.
So yeah, you've got what, three sleds? Well, yeah, you've got 3 sleds with you. So Vaelish Gant is pretty happy to have the opportunity to have his own sled. You're not really concerned about him, quote unquote, escaping, because where is he going to go? Like, you're out in the middle of an icy tundra. It's like, sure, go ahead, run off in that direction. I mean,
well, I've gotten I've tried to befriend him and discovered that he's pretty much a worthless individual.
Oh yes.
And however, we have made it clear that at this point, this is his chance to avoid death, or at least a notice of kill on sight. So it's in his interest intelligently to behave, at least for a few weeks,
definitely,
or a month or something.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
And so he more or less is kind of taking the lead, leading you off towards this ice spire, or the Lost Spire, rather. And he kind of tells you guys as you're journeying from East Haven to the Lost Spire of Netheril that you camp several times. And he tells you that that the Spire, at one time the Spire was a part of this city, and he kind of describes to you and draws it out what the Spire may have looked like. And I think I have that as a picture. Here it is.
Oh, a Lost Spire of Netheril original.
So this is what the Spire originally looked like when it was a part of this floating city.
And as we're traveling, Turpin has basically figured out that Vaelish Gant is a bad guy, and not interested in redemption so much as just living.
Right.
And
he is the most self-serving person you've ever met.
Right. So I am checking his stories and thinking about them from the lens of where does he betray us or slip off.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that's my my viewpoint.
You're like, I got an eye on you.
And I'm just thinking, like, okay, so who do you expect? What do we expect to see when we get here? Is it populated? And so I can do an insight to see if he's starting to cover.
He tells you one night around your campfire, he says that there's been many adventurers that have gone to the Lost Spire, although I've never heard of many that have none have come back, really. He says, I know that there's been at least 2 expeditions. One of those expeditions was led by the Arcane Brotherhood, but they never came back. The only person I know that's been there that came back was Avarice, that albino tiefling.
Right. And Avarice was killed.
Avarice took off into the snow. Yeah,
she disappeared.
Yeah, she took off on her own off into the snowdrifts. The other one, the Red Wizard of Thay, was burned at the stake. And so he tells you, nobody else other than Avarice should really know where the Spire is. But he wouldn't be surprised if a roving band of adventurers would stumble across it sooner or later. It takes you a little bit, a couple of days really, to get to the Spire. The Spire is out on the glacier on the northeastern side of Loch Dinishir. And so it's probably a good 8-hour journey from the northeastern tip of Loch Dinishir to the Lost Spire. And on your approach to the Lost Spire, you realize the current situation is that it is upside down.
Uh-huh.
So it came off of this floating city when it crashed and literally speared itself into the glacier.
So it's essentially now a dungeon in that it goes down deep into the ground, and it's an upside-down building the entire way.
Correct. Let me find it here.
What is Vaelish Gant's relationship with Arl?
Oh, with Avarice? Or Arl the Frostmaiden?
No, I'm, as far as like Avarice showing up and stabbing us in the back because she's working with Vaelish Gant.
So
Yeah,
his description of Avarice is that that she showed a lot of promise as an apprentice,
okay.
but beyond that, he doesn't really have any real opinion of her. Probably the best opinion that he could have would be to say that she had promise.
But yeah, so he was mentor and she was apprentice to him.
She wasn't his apprentice. She was a extremely low-ranking member of the Arcane Brotherhood in Luskan. He does say that Avarice is extremely self-serving, which is ironic coming from him, and that she seems to be willing to do almost anything to gain power.
Okay. Yeah.
A 20-foot high, irregularly shaped spur of rock juts out of the tundra ahead of you. Its smooth and shiny surface cannot possibly have been worn down by the wind. No, this protrusion looks utterly out of place, as if it had been thrust into the ground. And he leads you to this icy chute that goes down into this smoothly bored rock that's sticking out of the ice. And the slippery tunnel opens up into an upside-down room, the contents of which are coated in frost. And you can see this at the bottom of this chute. And he just kind of sits down on his furry cloak and slides down like he's at an amusement park. And he slides down into the rim.
All right.
So you guys slide down. Across from the tunnel is a wooden door that's flush with the ceiling, which used to be the floor. The door is ajar, and flanking it are two identical stone statues that hang down like stalactites. Across from the statues are sconces with upside-down flames burning in them. So these are the upside-down statues.
Mm-hmm.
And there are these upside-down torches with flames flickering upside down. They don't appear to be like normal flames that would turn upward back into the torch. They're literally hanging upside down like Christmas tree lights.
Okay. Clearly magical. And the integrity of the ceiling is such that it's no worries. Well, actually, it's under a little bit of ice, so we're not really sure how. If it's ceiling tile and we step and stomp our way through, that would suck. But
yeah, that
seems to be solid.
The upside-down statues depict long-faced humans dressed in wizard's robes, clutching a staff.
Okay, and they're like 10 feet. These are normal size. We've got a 20-foot tall room here, and say 8-foot tall statues.
Correct.
So we can't even reach them.
Right.
Okay.
Give me just a second. I'll be right back.
Well, Brady, we're dead if anything comes out to get us.
Hmm. Very much, yeah.
And on our map, you notice that Vaelish Gant doesn't even show up. That's how much of a help he'll be. You done anything interesting in the last couple of weeks, Brady?
Not at all. Yep. Have you done anything?
Well, we replaced the floor in the house. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, it seems like Brady and Colby have had their heads buried in books for the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So Vaelish Gant tells you, as he's walking over to these large doors here, he tells you, he says, Dazan the Red Wizard, he'd come to the Spire several times. But I don't think we have to worry about him sneaking up behind us since he was burned at the stake in Easthaven. And he kind of chuckles.
All right.
And he pushes open the doors. Oops. I can get this to work for me. Yep. It's because I brought up the geomagnetic storm. Roll 20 is going to be kind of a pain in my ass. There we go. So there is this hallway leading ahead of you. He opens the doors and he's just kind of looking down the hallway. And this hallway, you see that there are some upside down stairs at the far east end. And the hallway itself is filled with frost. The stairs at the east end are filled with rubble and completely impassable. But you have a door to the north and a door to the south.
So we see the ceiling to the east has steps that come down, and the hole that it would normally, those steps would go, the ceiling steps would go down in, is filled with rubble.
With rubble.
Okay.
So you can pick which direction you want to go, north or south.
All right. I will see. I guess we'll listen at this northern door, and while we're carefully doing this, I'll ask Sarah to flit up and inspect the statues that are upside down, just to see if there's a place where they can disconnect easily, like defenders of...
So Sarah, let's see here. Sarah tells you that there is a faint magical aura. It appears that these statues at one time had wards cast on them, but that the magical aura is now so weak that they're not capable of functioning any longer.
Oh, all right. So listening to the north door.
So you listen at the north door, and you don't hear anything.
And so we will go through that north door, but I'm going to listen at the south door before we...
Before you open it?
Before we go to the low-risk northern door.
You don't hear... The only thing that you hear listening at the south door is what sounds like wind blowing through a tunnel.
Aha. All right. Well, then we'll stick with the plan, and unless Brady or Sam wants to try something different.
No, I'm good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, and I'll ask Vaelish. She'll say, "Okay, well, you've done a great job leading us here. And I'm sorry I don't remember, but have you been inside this place before?"
He says, "Oh no, I've never actually been here, but I've known about it for some time."
Okay, and you don't know how it's laid out internally. We're just now we're into exploration mode, right?
Right. Yeah. He says the only thing that I know is rumors. And I hear that on the lowest levels of the Spire that there are great magical finds.
Okay. Well, his magic it's still suppressed, right?
Correct. Yeah, he still has the manacles on.
Okay. So, he needs to... I'll tell him, okay, you need to stay behind us and keep watch. The best thing you can do is watch behind us to make sure nothing sneaks up from that direction. But we don't want you out in front because your face will get eaten before we can do anything.
He holds up his manacled hands and gives a thumbs up.
All right. Okay.
So you open the door, the northern door. The room contains shattered and jumbled equipment, much of it near two heavy wooden work tables, one on its side, the other upside down. So this table is upside down, has lost all of its legs. This one's laying on its side. And the room is just a complete jumble. And there is a door leading to the east.
Right. And this room... Yeah. And we got frost everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's coated in frost. There's just rubble all over this room due to these busted tables and broken, what looks like beakers, and there's like a busted up scale, and there's stuff all over the floor, well, ceiling, that you're walking on the ceiling. But there's stuff all around in here, but at first glance, everything looks like it's just been dropped from the ceiling, or from the ceiling down to the floor and busted up.
And Turpin knows this, but let me back up. Carl wants to make sure our purpose for coming here was to learn something about this cold.
Yes, the possibility that there might be some way here to contact or appease Oral. Now that's a possibility. You don't know for sure.
Yeah. So we're here on a learning expedition to see if we can figure out something that people don't know that might lead to ending the multi-year freeze.
Correct.
Okay, so we have no clue as to what we're looking for.
Right.
All right. Now, Vaelish, I'll ask him, was there any, do you know anything about how this was laid out? Was the uppermost part of this spire, was it where the most powerful lived, and thus we have to go to the bottom for that? Or
usually he says usually from my research, that's usually how Netherise spires were laid out, is that the penthouse was right.
Okay.
Which would be below you now.
All right. And as we're going, we're also going to check this frosted ceiling / floor. From now on, I'm just going to call it the floor.
Right. Yeah. Right.
For tracks, disturbances, anything like that. If we see an object on the floor that is not covered in frost, that will be of interest.
Make an investigation check.
Yeah. Holy crud, I'm rolling hot.
Nice. In the racket, you don't find any tracks in here. It looks to you like this used to be a workshop of some kind. You find screws and chisels and hammers and mallets and things. But you do find an iron key.
Huh. All right. And it's an isolated key. It's not connected to a corpse or anything like that.
No.
That's strange. What would a key be doing all by itself in this room? But pocket the key.
Sam, what are you doing?
You saying iron teeth at first.
Iron teeth. Yes, you know, George Washington's lesser-known cousin with his iron teeth.
If you're trying to be intimidating, that's going to make it stay out.
Baron von Underbite.
if you present us with magical emanations from a pair of iron dentures, then I'm waiting for whoever it is that has all their teeth yanked out so that they can stick it in. the teeth of Vecna.
Oh God. Now I'm gonna have to create a new legendary item.
Now these doors are kind of strange in that since they're upside down and these rooms are 20 feet tall.
So what
we were lucky. How do we get through them?
So what you've discovered so far, with at least these two doors, is that the Netherise doors go from floor to ceiling, and you don't see that any of these doors have like any kind of knob or handle on them, but they seem to be perfectly balanced, even though there's no gap under the doors. They are from floor to ceiling within, like, maybe you could slide a sheaf of paper under the door, and that's about as much of a gap as there is. And they are perfectly balanced, even being 20 feet tall. If you just press on them, they just effortlessly glide open.
Well, then, see, this is where, Brady, you should talk, because otherwise I'll slow us down to a crawl. Because I would say that we need to get torches ready to melt the frost across the door so that we can open them.
So this room is also lit by these torches with continual flame spells on them.
Right.
And as I stated, there is another door leading to the east here.
Well, we'll listen. The nice part is the doors are sealed so that light potentially isn't going to leak on through.
Right.
And we don't really see any tracks, so as far as having some sort of ice monster attack us, it won't be a natural predator. That it's going to be something magical that can sit and wait for us.
Right. Like a Remoraz.
Yeah. But the doors won't easily open and close with layers of frost on the ground since they're so well fitted. So
right.
We'll have to kind of warm up and slushify the ground / ceiling. so that we can swing open these doors. But we do the listen and the melt and the open.
So, yeah. You listen. You don't hear anything on the other side of this door.
Open away.
Okay. The floor of this room is covered with shards of glass, frozen pools of spilled liquids, and the wreckage of 2 cabinets. In a niche in the far corner of the room, a metal chest is bolted to the ceiling. Its lid is closed and locked. So right here, there is this chest that is bolted to the ceiling and locked.
So we're not actually here to look for treasure, although we always want to.
I mean, if it's just going to stare you in the face, if it's going to softball it in like that.
Oh, I know, exactly. But clues could easily exist in locked chests as well. So my heart is lifted by saying that looking for loot in every possible corner is actually we're just looking for clues, right? Isn't that right, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Clues.
Yeah. Some clues that might be worth a whole lot of money. I mean, that could end this winter. Yeah, that's the ticket.
So
if there's an item inside, it can help us find more clues.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll enter, and obviously I've at least made it over to this point to be able to see the iron chest.
Actually, the ceilings are not 20 feet; they're 10.
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
But in any case, I have solutions, but Sam, got any ideas?
I got nothing.
Okay, well then.
Well,
we will put some blankets and kind of suspend them up here, so that whatever falls out of that iron chest doesn't just smash into the ground. And
wise.
I will,
So wise, very wise.
And I will. I will hold the iron key up into the air, and it will float through because of my invisible Sarah.
Right.
Sarah will get up there and insert the key and turn it, and I will have my telekinetic. I have that telekinesis feature. So if I see one thing that I won't have but a fraction of a second.
Right.
But if I see something that's very fragile falling, I will grab it.
So
I'm readying a grab of something terribly fragile.
Indeed, Sarah puts the iron key into the chest and turns it, and the chest opens up. Out of the chest fall 4 potions that land onto the blankets and whatnot that you had piled up. And
I'll randomly grab at one of them.
Okay.
Just they have a chance of breaking, even hitting blankets.
You grab one of them. Ooh, that was a fugly roll. Well, that's fine. So of the other 2, or other 3, one of them breaks.
Okay.
And you see a greenish liquid kind of flow out through the frost on the floor. The other 2 land perfectly fine on the blankets. So you've got these 3 potions. You're not sure what they are. Whoever wants.
Try them, Sam? You want to take a sip?
Whoever wants to can try to make an Arcana check or use Detect Magic on them. Or, I guess Detect Magic wouldn't really tell you much, but Identify would.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the lookout for a scroll of that, but I haven't found one yet.
Right. Can
So,
warlocks learn spells from scrolls?
I am that one that can do it. I have that book of ancient secrets.
That's right. Yeah.
And Sarah is, because warlocks can switch. So if Sarah ever dies, I can't replace Sarah. I'll have to use just a plain generic familiar.
Right.
So if you ever just get irritated with me, just kill Sarah.
So do you guys want to? You can basically unstopper these and kind of, put a little on your finger and taste it. You can make an Arcana check to determine what these potions are.
Yeah. Well, Turpin will do that under the guidance of Vaelish Gant, and
or Vaelish Gant can probably tell you.
Just from looking at the colors and the viscosities and all that jazz.
Yeah, he naturally rolled a 19, not to mention his Arcana skills. He tells you that these are potions of resistance. And what you have, unfortunately, the potion of resistance acid broke. The one that you caught with your telekinesis is a potion of resistance cold. The other two are fire and force. So essentially, drinking these will give you resistance to that damage type for 1 hour.
All right. So we got fire, cold, and force.
Correct.
Would it be possible to split halvesies?
No.
A quarter resistance?
No. No.
Now, if you're interested, you can carry them all. I would never even use one unless we could see that we were going to be going through wall of fire or something like that. And I have cold resistance due to my boots. So if you wish to carry that just for yourself and not even as a party resource, have at it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm taking it off of my little sheet here because you have it.
So, a little side thing. So, it's really nice to be in good with game publishers. And so, I don't know if I told you, but I talked with Mongoose Publishing, and they allowed us for the Wednesday Night Traveler game to use 30 seconds of the soundtrack that they put out as an intro to our game. And so, I'm in good with them. And so I was on the forums today, and they just released, not too long ago, they released something called the Utility Pack. And basically, the Utility Pack is just a tear-off sheet. I think there's 50 character sheets in there, and then there's another 50 blank sector maps for you to draw out space sectors and whatnot. And I commented in the forums, I said, it would be really nice if with the PDF, because you get a PDF with everything that you buy physically. I said it'd be really nice if the PDF had a form fillable, because there's some days where I can't read my own handwriting. Within seconds, I get a response back from Mongoose Mike. Hey, let me see what I can do about that. That's so awesome. Thank you.
That's kind of creepy in a really cool way.
Yeah, but they're just on top of it. They're such a great company. So where do you want to go from here? I mean, I guess there's only one other direction. That'd be the south door.
Yep, we're going to go listen to the wind.
Yes, so yeah, you don't hear anything at the south door except for what sounds like wind blowing through a tunnel.
And then we will melt the frost that the door has to swing through and try to open it.
Okay. What is this? This is a new icon. I don't know what that does. Interesting. Huh.
I've never seen a creature this large.
No, there's a new tool icon that looks like a little torch. I bet it has something to do with dynamic lighting or something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you open up this room.
Okay. And I continue to look for disturbances in the frost that's on the floor, just so that we're not walking into the lair of a cave bear.
Right. Tall bookshelves affixed to the outer wall have spilled their contents onto the floor, or onto the ceiling-turned floor. A large table lies on its side, one leg broken. A 5-foot tall tunnel, or a 5-foot wide tunnel, in the floor to the east leads down, and you can hear the wind blowing through this hole in the floor here. But there are books. These along the walls here are all bookshelves, and they have disgorged their contents all across the floor. Are these books covered in frost?
Well, they should be. We will gather all the books. We'll gather them, and if it's too large, we'll just leave them in a pile somewhere.
So,
but at some point, I wanted to put those in my crystal.
Okay.
But I can only access the crystal once a day, so that'd be stupid to just throw a book in there and say, "Oh shit, lost my whole day."
So, out of all of these books, you find 3 that are possibly fairly interesting. The first one is titled "Magical Wonders of Netheril." This book is a collection of interviews with Netherise archmages who discuss their studies of ancient elven magic and the creation of mythalars. The book includes sketches of such devices.
And what's the magical wonders of what?
Magical Wonders of Netheril.
Netheril.
Yeah, I can. Here, I'll type it out.
Gotcha. I got it. Okay. Recorded. Done.
The next book that you find is The Mysteries of the Ferim. This book sheds light on the Ferim, telepathic, funnel-shaped monsters of malevolent intellect that seem to lurk in the Underdark, and includes disturbing sketches of them.
Okay. Cool.
And the last book is Wizards in the Hollow. The birth of the Netherise Empire is chronicled in this otherwise dull, plodding story about the lives of 3 Netherise wizards.
Okay, so we've got 3 books that all seem to focus on Netheril.
Yeah, they were...
Well, actually, no, one's Ferim. Okay, never mind. I thought I was trying to see some similarity, but I don't see it. Don't see it now.
And so you see that this appears to be the only way down.
All right. See, because we're going to, while we up here look for something secure that we can tie a rope to.
Okay. Yeah, you can tie it off to the bookshelves because the bookshelves are affixed to the wall. So, yeah, you could tie off a rope to there.
Okay. So we'll be tying off a rope while Sarah looks to see if there's any sharp spikes underneath this hole, or that it opens to a 700-foot drop, or...
No, she reports...
Or sarlacc or something.
Yeah, she reports that it is about a 10-foot drop down to another room. She tells you that the next room appears to be an upside-down laboratory.
Okay, so we have enough rope, so we'll loop it around instead of tightly secure it, and holding both ropes at one time, we can drop down, and then we can let go of one end and pull the rope with us. Oh, no, we don't want to do that?
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
Never mind.
Oh, we didn't think this through. Now we can't get back out.
Yep.
So who's going down first?
I'll go first. Or Sam can go first. I don't care.
Okay.
You go first.
All right.
Probably a bunch of stuff.
I'm the one who trusts Sarah the most, so I'll go first.
Okay. This room contains 2 metal cages, both badly damaged. Nearby, 2 roughly dug tunnels, one in the ceiling and one in the floor, lead to other areas. Narrow windows along the bowed outer wall afford you a glimpse of the earth into which this structure has impaled itself.
Huh. All right. So these cages are human-sized?
The cages appear to have been knocked around a lot during the crash and fall, and they seem to, if you're too rough with them, they'll fall apart easily. One of them holds the carapace of an insect-like person.
Okay, so they were keeping prisoners here.
Both of you can make a DC 20 nature check.
Okay, well, I will take the time to do guidance and then do my nature. Ooh, made it.
Okay. Sam, did you want to try it?
6.
Okay. So, Turpin, you recognize that this insect-like person's carapace is the corpse of a Thri-kreen.
Ooh, a violent warrior insect race.
Yeah, some of them are violent warrior. Yeah, Thri-kreen, there's not very many Thri-kreen in the Forgotten Realms. They are actually a major race in Dark Sun, I believe.
Okay. I just know them from video games, and man, they were awful.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So, yeah, there's another, in the floor here, there is another rough-cut tunnel that leads down another floor, but out of here there is a door to the east and a door to the north.
I'm going to look at this tunnel cut. It looks irregular, so it doesn't look like something a large rock-eating worm or Zorn or something would do.
No.
Does it show tool marks like pickaxes or what's...
It does.
This tunnel form.
Yeah, it does. It looks like somebody either partially melted through the floor. Like you see points that look like it's been hit by acid, and then there's other sections where it's clearly you can see tool marks. Probably not pickaxes or anything like that. It looks like somebody just used daggers and swords to cut through.
Okay, so we're following in the footsteps of looters.
Possibly.
Okay. And it's probably just roll 20, but we do inspect the whole room. So over here in the southeast, in case there's any more iron chests that are bolted to the floor.
Nope, no iron chest in the floor here.
Okay. Well, then we've checked this area, and whatever happened, however they made these holes, they haven't been here long enough, in such a long time that the frost on the floor is undisturbed.
Right. Well, I mean, it is cold. I mean, it's buried in a glacier, so it wouldn't take very long for the frost to reform.
Right. Okay, we'll listen to listen at this northern door.
Okay. You don't.
I'll give you a perception roll that you can apply to whenever it matters.
Okay. Yeah, you don't hear anything on the northern door.
Okay. And we'll do the same for the eastern door before we go to the north, I guess.
So the eastern door, you can hear the sound of wind, and every once in a while it sounds like pebbles falling on larger rocks.
Well, Sam, it sounds like there may be tunnels like we've just come through. I hear wind and some rocks every once in a while pinging around. So either there's something that's moving in there or it's unstable. What do you think? Which one should we check out first?
Well, if it's unstable, the smaller one should probably check it out. If it's rocks, then the smaller one will probably get squished easier.
All right, so we'll check out the eastern one first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. We do the melt the frost so the door can swing and open it up.
So you open this door and you see that this used to be a spiral staircase that connected levels 2 through 4, but it is now choked with rumble and it is rendered impassable.
Well, there's our answer.
All right. And the rock movement is so the floor, well, okay, the ceiling in this area is kind of breaking and tumbling.
Yeah, every once in a while you see small rocks, the size, small gravel, like dropping down from the ceiling or from the floor through the spiral staircase.
Interesting.
It doesn't look like it's completely stable.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, let's move to the other door.
Okay.
Unless you want to jump up and down on the pile of rubble that seems to be unstable.
That sounds like a wonderful, very fun idea.
Maybe on the way out.
Yeah. Just for fun.
Okay. Wow. Well, all right. Something different.
So this room, an upside-down table sits in the middle of this room, and books are scattered around it. Clinging to the bowed outer wall is an upside-down fireplace. Along that same wall is a window with nothing but hard-packed earth beyond it.
All right. Well, we check out. We're not moving very quickly, so we're because we're looking for clues, and so we check this area out.
Make an investigation check.
Let's see. I'm gonna take my time to get a little guidance and do my. Yes, that's about time. I rolled some garbage. There we go. 7.
Okay. With a 7, the most that you could determine is that it looks like another expedition has been through this room.
Yeah, I mean, yes. We figured that out from the holes. And yeah, so this just tells us more that whoever came through here has been doing kind of what we're doing.
More or less. Sam, did you want to make an investigation check?
Sure, I'll take a look. What can a 22 perception do?
Oh. So it looks like, indeed, there was a group that had gone, an expedition had been through here. It looks like they had looted some books, but you do find that there are 2 books remaining. You find a book called A Jammar's Guide to the Fantastic. This breezy, light-hearted treatise on illusion magic was required reading in many Netherise classrooms. It describes clever ways to use common illusion spells.
I go that disturbing.
Okay. And the other,
I really care about that kind of booky stuff.
The other book is called The Unfettered Mind. This lunatic text discusses how one might exist solely as a disembodied brain preserved for eons in a magical suspension fluid. It includes sketches of brains in jars.
That is worth a laugh. That was pretty good.
Out of this room, there is a door to the east, and then over on the, or I'm sorry, a door to the west, and over on the east wall, a door to the south.
Well, we know the door to the south there is kind of constrained in space. So let's check that one out first. What do you say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Listen, melt, open. And I'll give you, like, here, let's go 3 perceptions, and you can apply them whenever you want.
So this staircase this is the rubble-filled staircase from the first level. And laying partially buried under the rubble is a human skeleton in tattered robes.
Well, how stable is the area from us to the skeleton?
It's fairly stable. It seems that any cave-in has already happened. It's packed pretty tight. You also notice that the skeleton is missing a finger.
All right. Well, we're going to check out the skeleton and the area around it and see if we can find any identifying dog tags or whatever to let people know that this person died, or clues that help us out.
Go ahead and make a medicine check.
Well, let's see. I'm going to take my time and gain myself a 19, so 21.
So this guy has been dead for a couple thousand years.
So 21's not good enough to bring him back to life, is what you're telling me?
No. He's got no pulse. As far as you can tell, he looks like he was maybe a wizard or an apprentice, just from the way he's dressed.
Okay.
But that's about all that's in here.
No, I feel like I'm on a game show. But wait.
There's more. So then from here, there is the door to the west. And of course, the tunnel leading down to the next level.
All right. We're going to the west.
Okay.
We're going west, young man.
What was your last perception check? 16?
The last one was an 8 or something. Yeah, an 8. I rolled 2 16s and an 8.
When you listen at this door, it is deafeningly quiet. Have you heard about that room that has been designed to be the most silent room ever made? And people can't stand to be in there for longer than a couple minutes because it starts to drive them mad. That's how quiet what you're hearing.
All right. I'll step back and Sam, something's bothered me about this room. It's so quiet. It's almost someone has worked to make this quiet. I would suspect that there's a silence, or that spell that's active, or that door is specially made to block sound. And the door looks like every other door, so I'm thinking we might have something coming up on us here.
I'm gonna knock on the door.
There's no answer.
But does the door make noise?
It makes noise on this side.
Okay.
It's kind of like knocking on a granite wall.
Right.
Okay. Well, we don't have much choice here. Let's do the melt and open thing.
Okay.
I don't know what preparation.
Take out my violin and get ready.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot I can do here for prepping.
All I can do is just charm people and hope they fight each other.
Now, one thing I can do is, okay, tell you what, let's turn, in case there's bad magic on the other side, let's turn this table over to the side, get behind it, and I can use telekinesis to open that door.
A wonderful idea.
Well, we don't have offense. It's not like we're going to go in there with like paladins and bash the crap out of
Right.
it.
Long-range warlock. What we been doing?
Yeah, we want to be close to where we can run and get the hell out of here.
This room contains the shattered remains of a desk and some chairs. You quickly discover that all sound in the room is muted. But there's nothing in here.
Okay. All right. Well, that's better than
Study room.
yeah.
That is exactly what it is. You determine that this looks like it was a study room for apprentices that needed a quiet place to study.
All right. Well, hey, I still don't begrudge a second of preparation because I still have my old face. It didn't get eaten, and so
My face hasn't been blown off, so.
That's right. Okay, so this was a kind of a work area for magicians, for magic users, of which I'm not really quite. I guess I am one now, but sure doesn't feel like it. And we sort through the stuff here.
Yeah, there's really nothing in here.
Okay.
Just shattered tables, and that's about it.
Yeah, I see the fret of an electric guitar, and I move out. This is where the garage band practiced.
Right.
Well, Sam, shall we head down?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
All right, we got to find a place to tie. Now, the rope that we did was 50 feet, so we probably have another 20 feet of it remaining.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you could throw it down the next hole.
Yeah. Because these holes are roughly lining up, right?
Yes. So, this chamber appears to have been a wizard's laboratory, as evidenced by the upside-down storage cupboards and empty shelves fastened to the walls, the shattered glass and alchemical equipment strewn across the floor, and the arcane symbols painted on what is now the ceiling in the middle of this place. In the middle of this space, 5-foot wide passageways punched through the ceiling and floor lead to the other levels. Near them, a partially collapsed wall exposes a room that lies beyond. And so the partially collapsed wall is here. And I suppose since you can see in there, I can just open that up.
It looks dark. Okay.
And in that space, where is that? You can just make out from where you're standing that hanging attached to the ceiling, something that looks like an upside down altar.
Huh. Well, I will ask Sarah to go and look at that altar a little more closely. It's up on a 10-foot ceiling, I assume.
Yes.
And see if there were... she's not a thief or anything, but she can see if there were any drawers or cabinets or pulls or buttons.
So a stone altar is attached to the ceiling of this otherwise empty semicircular room. An 8-pointed star is carved into the eastern face of the altar. Both of you can make a intelligence religion check.
Yeah, I know that's something, and I'm going to go ahead and use my guidance, so I'm at 12.
Okay. Does Sam want to attempt this?
18.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you recognize that this is an ancient symbol It is the holy symbol of Mistral, the first incarnation of Mistra, the goddess of magic.
Ah, very, very, very old.
You also know that holy shrines to Mistral are rare places and often full of mystery. So the altar is 9 feet above the floor, and it seems to merge seamlessly with the ceiling.
Is that worth investigating further, Sam?
Possibly, but how would we get across this hole in the ground?
Well, there are wooden planks.
Yeah, there's a small ledge here that you could step around.
Yeah, well, since I'm old, I'm going to go ahead and move a bookcase, some wood to make that a little bit wider.
Okay.
You know, I'll just do my. Hang on, this takes time, you know.
Right. Yeah.
There we go. I'm going to put a piece of wood right there, and you know, it's 10,000 years old, so it's rotted to the core, but it's frozen solid.
Yeah, it's frozen. So. So.
Oh, that wasn't intended.
Sarah reports back that she is not detecting any magic coming from the altar.
Okay. And the altar, is it smooth? Does it have any symbols or protuberances or depressions?
It's very sad.
Only the symbol on the altar.
Okay. Well, I will say if Sam wants to inspect the symbol to see if touching it or something can do anything, I can create a Tensor's floating disc there and lift him up enough to.
Oh yeah, I forgot to have that.
Yeah, that's handy.
Well, it's gonna take me 10 minutes because it's a ritual, but hey, whatever.
You're not on the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
So you lift Sam up. Sam, you touch the symbol of Mistral, and when you do so, above what would be above the altar, which is actually upside down, so it just floats in the air, you see suddenly in a shimmer of light, a flask full of a shimmering blue liquid appears and immediately starts to fall towards the floor. Sam, make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw.
And I want to use my TK to catch it too, but I wasn't prepped in this case.
23.
Okay.
Oh,
so
good. He got it.
Sam, you catch this. Trying to see what this is. Oh. Sam, go ahead and make an Arcana check. Or if you have Identify, you can... Well, never mind. So...
6.
So, Vaelish Gant looks at that and he says, oh, fascinating. He says, that is a very, very special vial. He says, if you drink all of it, you gain the ability to cast the Minor Illusion cantrip at will, using intelligence as your spellcasting ability.
For how long?
Forever.
Yes.
If you have that spell, yeah?
I mean, if you want that, that is great. I have the ability to create silent images, I believe. Yes, I have Misty Visions, which allows me to cast illusions left and right like crazy, so you should drink it.
Okay, yes. I'm going to take that.
Now you have to figure out what can you do with minor illusion.
Quite a bit, actually.
Oh, I know. It is really cool.
I always have problems with illusion spells because I have on the spot, I have a hard time coming up with clever ways of using them.
Yeah, I have created a laundry list of things so that I don't have to do that.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those things, if you're going to play an illusionist, you kind of have to have a list of ideas or, a motif that you're going to go for playing that character, because otherwise you spend all of your time casting these illusions and having to come up with something clever on the spot. And it's really hard. It's really hard for the DM, to figure out, like, okay, well, how are these guys going to react if they do believe it? And what are they going to do when they discover that it's not real? You know what I mean? It's like,
well, and there's the old, I'm going to create a swarm of bees around the guy's face, and
right.
You can do a little bit of damage, and there's all sorts of internet discussion over whether that obstructs their vision or. I
usually cause it to give the help action, but it's very fleeting, and something like that is very fleeting because they're going to swing their hands at it, and if they swing their hands at it, if they make contact with it, they're going to realize that it's not real. So it's like,
by definition,
if
they physically interact, it's over.
Right. So basically, you're going to get like the help action out of that for like one turn, and then after that, they're going to be like, oh, well, this is bullshit. So
my favorite is to create an illusion of a door over the door that you're looking at.
Right.
And then you can pull it open if it pulls towards you, and the people inside the room don't see the door open.
Right, and they have no idea. Right, yeah. So yeah, you gain the minor illusion cantrip at will, and intelligence is your spellcasting ability. So for that, that would be then. Shit, I have to look it up.
What, minor illusion?
So your spell save would. So what is your intelligence modifier, Sam?
It's +2, so that'd be like.
So it's 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier is your spell save DC.
13.
Which a spell save of 13 for minor illusion isn't actually that bad.
And it's really good out of combat too. I mean, I like minor illusion because you can create table-sized maps. It'd be great for playing like Mech Warrior or something like that.
Well, it'd be one of those things that will be extremely handy for a bard.
Well, let's see if the blessings of Mistral are consumed, or if these are per individual. I think just walking away and saying, "Oh, well, that was awesome," is certainly doable, but it'd be very foolish to see if maybe Mistral will bless Vaelish or me.
Any further touches to the Mistral symbol does nothing.
That's to be expected, but it would be foolish not to try.
Right.
Okay.
So out of this room, there is another door to the east here, and then a door to the north.
Oh.
As I'm leaving the room, I'm just gonna say out, "Thank you."
Okay.
Very wise. Okay, we do the listen to the east.
And actually, hold on a second here. Nope, that's all it does. Okay. I had to double check because sometimes if you give proper reverence or thank a shrine for whatever gift that you receive. Sometimes there's a blessing that's given, but this shrine is pretty much used up. So, listening to the east, you again hear a slight sound of wind and the sound of like pebbles dropping on rocks.
This is the spiral staircase.
Correct.
Yeah. And so we'll open it because we expect to see a collapsed spiral staircase.
Right, and that's what you see.
Okay. All right. Hey, Sam. My ear's getting cold pressing up against all these frozen doors. It's your turn.
Fair enough. Let's do the perceiving.
So, yeah, make a perception check. So you can hear, on the other side of this door, you hear somebody talking in common, very quietly, but you can hear that there's mumbling. And you don't really hear much of a response from anybody, but every once in a while you hear a, uh-huh, yes, sir, uh-huh. And that's about all you can make out.
Oh, boy. This might be the perfect time, working together. Can we swing this door towards us? I don't know how these doors they swing either way. Like
they swing either way, but they're designed to be pushed on.
Okay. All right. Well, we're about to meet some sentient people. Anything you want to prep with your newfound powers?
I am going to prepare the spell Meteor Swarm.
Okay. Kick up at the door, go in, finger guns blazing.
I've got a shot of fireball that I can cast inside that room, but I don't really want to come in there all aggressive in case they're not aggressive. So
right.
Let's stand back, and I can telekinetically push on the door.
Okay. Since
they're so well balanced. Yeah, I'm gonna be out. Let's see. Yeah, I'll be over here too. And we can't escape because I can't climb that rope fast enough to get away. So this could be bad. In case things go south, I'm gonna escape over to the shrine room and kick the board down into the hole, and we'll defend from there.
Okay. So, using telekinesis, you open the door. Some effort has been made to arrange the contents of this upside-down room, creating a functional office. A table stands in the middle of the room, surrounded by small stacks of books. Lying on the table is a whirring amulet on a chain. Two figures stand behind the table. One is an undead warrior in studded leather armor. Its dead gray flesh drawn tightly over its bones, and its face locked in a terrible scowl. The other is an attractive young man in cold weather clothing. His face, beneath a frayed witch's hat, displays studious eyes and a warm smile. And he sees the door open and he says, "Welcome to the Lost Spire of Netheril. My name is Dazan."
Ah, Dazan. Yes.
So
as long as we're standing still and there's nothing going on there, I will talk back and go, my name is Turpin, and I am accompanied with my friends Sam and my co-traveler Vaelish Gant.
Vaelish looks at you and says, "Fascinating. That can't possibly be Dazan. We saw him burned in East Haven."
So yeah, and I nod at Vaelish and ask, what brings you to this cold, forsaken ruin?
So
we're talking over large distances here.
Dazan and his bodyguard.
Oh yeah, halt, people. We halt, please. We don't know you, and we don't want to start at a fight here.
Dazan says, "Oh, we're not looking for a fight. Don't be afraid of Krintos. This is my white bodyguard." Says, and he says, he looks at Vaelish Gant, and he looks at you two, and he says, and Vaelish Gant is looking at him like, what's going on? You know,
he's a shape changer, yeah.
And the Dazan looks at him and he says, if you have met me before, it wasn't really me, and I have never met any of you, so you'll have to take my apologies. I am a simulacrum of my creator. This tower is but a fragment of a Netherise flying city that crashed nearly 2,000 years ago and lies somewhere under the glacier. On the lowest level of this inverted tower, my creator found a chamber that can turn illusions into reality. The life spark of a living creature is needed to activate its power. As a creation of snow and shadow, I have no life spark of my own, and poor Krintos, my undead bodyguard, is of no help in this regard. I assure you, the chamber can harm no one in any way. Would you be willing to help me?
I think we would have to learn quite a bit more about this, the nature of this, and the donation of living blood, which is
oh, no. You don't need living blood. It's just that you have the life spark that neither me nor my friend here have.
Well, working with magic is a risky game, and it involves a certain measure of trust when one hasn't done the research themselves, or so I'm told.
I've been researching this for some time. I believe that I can become a real person. He says, on the lowest level is the Rune Chamber. It has been slightly damaged, but I assure you it will not harm the person giving the life spark. The one that is in danger, you see, would be myself. But if it works, I'll become a real boy. Ha ha ha.
Well, we can all appreciate that as a desire for anyone. We all desire to live.
You guys can continue to hear this amulet sitting on the table in that chamber just going and kind of vibrating around the table.
Well, we're in all honesty, this is a rather tense meeting, so let's all just stay very calm and still. As we continue this very civilized discussion. Now, we have come because we've heard some rumors that indicate we might learn something about this winter that has befallen the area, the 10 Towns area, that has lasted for many years. And that's the reason for our presence here. We haven't been drawn here to with any knowledge that you were here or that or about your desire to become a real boy, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
So
he says.
So what?
He says. Well, he says. I remember hearing my creator talk somewhat about this everlasting rhyme that has been brought about by Oral the Frostmaiden. I don't know that there's actually anything down below in the Rune Chamber that would assist in that matter, although I'm not sure what the side effect of it would be. Possibly if we activate it, maybe that would also cause the rime to dissipate. I don't know.
Well, that's certainly interesting. And how long have you been here?
Oh, let's see. My creator left probably about a month ago. Have you seen him? Do you know what happened to Dazan?
Well, it pains me to tell you, but we believe we were certain before we met a duplicate of his, but we believe that he has been executed.
Oh, well, I guess I should stop waiting for him to come back.
If the person executed was truly your creator Dazan and not some other duplicate, then I would agree with you. He's not coming back.
Well, what you know about simulacrum, so if you know that the Dazan that was executed was the real one, because, and the way that you know this is that if a simulacrum is destroyed, they basically just turn into a pile of snow. Simulacrums are literally made from snow and shadow.
Well, I'm a warlock that was granted. I'm a magic dilettante. I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about it, but Vaelish probably does.
No, yes.
So he would say
he would definitely. Yeah, he would definitely explain that. No, that was the real Vaelish Gant or Dazan, because we saw roasted long pig. So
yeah. When his intestines came out, we were pretty sure.
Yeah, right. That's a dead giveaway.
So I'm sorry for your loss. How does that affect your plans?
He says, to be real honest, it kind of moves my plan forward, because I don't. My creator wasn't aware of what was on the bottom level. You see, these tunnels were actually carved out by Krentos here, and myself. But now that my creator is apparently dead, that kind of gives me the go-ahead to follow through with my plan. He wouldn't have wanted me to become real in any way. I was a tool.
Yes, that's an unfortunate existence.
But you can help me change all of this.
Well, honestly speaking, if you just need a spark, you can gain that from anyone. So if I were you, I wouldn't rush into this, because right at the moment, we don't have a lot of trust in you, and this could easily turn into a confrontation that neither one of us desire. If you win, you could end up killing all of us and have no spark. And if we win, we end up killing you, which we have no real desire to do so at the moment. So let's just all stay calm.
Says, well, yes, I agree, but calm is a good thing. But you must know, I am not the same as my creator. I am my own person. I have no desire to kill anybody. I just need help.
Understood. And possibly we believe you, but I have only met you for a few seconds. And you're in the company of an undead, which is threatening to all living beings, except those that serve the dark.
Krentos looks at you and croaks out and says, I only do what my master wishes. And my master wished for me to bodyguard the simulacrum. He is my only priority, not you.
Yes. So you are a tool as well.
Indeed.
Well, you are now free to pursue your goals. You don't have to use us. You can hire someone to help you. You could explain further to those who would understand what the risks that you're asking them to take. You might offer to pay for some poor desperate souls would grasp at any chance to make their way out of poverty. So there are a number of ways for you to succeed in your goal. So I'm trying to get you to not press us at the moment because I don't trust you.
Dazan says, Krintos, go to the table and grab some of those trinkets. And so Krintos goes back into the room and he goes to the table and he comes out, and in the middle of the room he just sets the buzzing amulet, and he sets a bag that when he sets it down, it sounds like it is full of rocks. And then Krintos steps back to the door. And Dazan says, I would gladly give you these as a reward. I have no need for them. Go ahead and take them.
So I was curious as to what the spinning thing was, and just to let you know, I'm not interested in taking things from you. Those are yours. But what is the spinning thing?
I'm looking to see if I put a picture of it in here. Evidently, I did not. That's strange.
It's a gyroscope.
No. So, it is an amulet on a chain. Let's see here. It is a 4-inch wide disc composed of silver-framed wood with a rune carved into its face. Make both of you can make a perception check.
24.
20.
So you both got it. You have seen this rune before. This rune was carved into the chest piece of the shield guardian that you found in the goblin stronghold.
That's exactly what I was wondering when you said it was an amulet. I was like, oh, maybe it's an amulet of shield guardian.
That's exactly what this is. And the rune looks like 3 slash marks with a half moon over each of them. Vaelish tells you that would be the personal rune of a Netherise wizard.
So fascinating. That is amazing. That I believe that we've run into another item that is connected to that amulet, and it just the chances of this happening seems extremely far-fetched.
Well, the simulacrum tells you, if you fancy it, it is yours. Take it, my friend. The bag is filled with 500 there are 500 gems, each worth 10 gold pieces.
More than loot, I would like to know how we might be able to work together or just peacefully coexist.
Vaelish tells you, he says, so here's the thing with simulacrums. He is a wizard, just like Dazan, who created it. Here's the catch, though. He can't regain his spell slots. The only way that he can regain his spell slots is if this Rune Chamber were to work and bring him back as a real person. So any spells that he casts, they're gone forever as he is right now.
Yes.
So he's not quite as dangerous as you might think he is.
I'm 90-something years old.
Yeah, everything's dangerous. There's a crack in the sidewalk. Now I gotta get a new hip.
I tell you what, man, I put on a new pair of shoes and I broke a hip 2 years ago. So
the simulacrum says, what if we were to go down to the final level and you could take a look at the Rune Chamber itself and you can determine for yourself if perhaps it will help you as well?
I think that would be great, especially I'm asking you to trust us more than I currently trust you, but hopefully you can look at us and tell that we're not quite as threatening as an undead warrior. Would you perhaps go in front of us?
Gladly. And he turns to Krintos and he says, Krintos, wait for me in our chambers. These fine people are not a threat to me. And Krintos says, but Master said to guard you. And Dazan says, you have nothing to fear, Krintos. Just go into the chamber and do whatever, but I don't need your services. I'm going to take these fine people down to the Rune Chamber. And Krintos says, as you wish. And he goes back into the chamber and shuts the door. And Dazan goes over to the tunnel and slides down.
All right. And we will, at least I will leave the loot that he's offered. We are not making a deal with him, and I'm not stealing from him. So
okay,
if we help him out later, we decide that he's on the up and up, then perhaps we can pick it up on the way out.
Okay.
Total distrust slows the game to a crawl.
Okay.
So you're very young. What do you know of things? What do you know of history? What do you know of current events? I'm just curious as to what fills the head of a simulacrum.
So he knows basically everything that his creator knew up to the point of creation.
Oh my goodness.
So
you have the memories of his life as well.
Correct. But no knowledge of what has currently happened. After he was created and the real Dazan left, he has no knowledge of anything. He's just been here.
So at some point, I will separate from Dazan and ask Vaelish Gant or maybe you can remind me of what we learned of Dazan's character, because I didn't think he was that good of a guy.
No, he was a red wizard of Thay, and the simulacrum basically tells you, he says he knows that that Dazan was a red wizard, but he also knows that Dazan came to the Icewind Dale region of his own accord, more or less to leave the red wizards behind. You would know that the things in Thay are not fantastic. The entire nation is ruled by an archlich, and it's very, very draconian, very oppressive. And so, unless you are already a high-ranking wizard, if you're lower ranking, there's really not any way for you to climb up, and it's just constant political machinations in an attempt to gain advantage over the wizard atop you and things like that. So Dazan would have come to Icewind Dale in an attempt to gain power or to make a mark for himself in order to politically rise through the ranks of Thay, or possibly not to ever go back again. But the Simulacrum, what you're learning is that Simulacrum is his own person. So even though he has those memories of Dazan, those are events that didn't happen to him personally. It's more like those memories are a story that was told to him that this is who he is, but he's really his own person.
So as we have this discussion, I will ask him, you should probably choose a name for yourself, because if you go with Dazan, you will inherit the baggage that goes with your creator. And calling you Dazan is just going to make me think that you are the person who made those memories. And if you wish to separate yourself from that, you probably need a different name.
He says, that is an interesting take on my situation. That I will ponder this. I'll think on what I want to call myself.
And if you are separate, a separate individual, a new person, what is it that you want? We understand, we knew kind of what Dazan wanted, and he was not one that we would readily trust.
He says,
who are you?
He says, I would love to see the world. I'd love to go south, someplace where it's not snowing and icy all the time.
Create your own memories.
Yes. I would love to travel to Candlekeep and read the great books in their library.
That is a worthwhile goal. Live life. It's a gift. All right, that's enough of all that crap. So back to D&D. So we're going to move.
So Sam and Turpin, you climb down. Dazan leads the way, and Dazan says, "Shh, we're not alone." Sam and Turpin make perception checks.
20. Man, have I been rolling good or every once in a while terrible.
Okay. Tassie, knock it off. Tassie's playing D&D by moving my map pieces around. Hey! Stop it. Stop.
No.
She's rearranging my throne room. He says, look there. And you see, moving through the rubble of this room, let me read you the description of the room first. Rusty tableware, shattered plates, and broken chairs lie scattered on the floor amid two tables, one overturned and one on its side. You see something crawl out behind the tipped-over table. He says, "Beware, there's a beast that has made it into this old galley." You see a hulking eight-legged reptile with glowing eyes. It is a basilisk.
Damn it, Sarah, you were supposed to be scoping out everything ahead of us. I know.
Let me put you guys on the board here. So, basilisk. Good thing they're not real quick. He gets a whole 2. And let me pull up Dazan. Well, shit. You ain't too bad for not being real. And both of you roll initiative.
There we go. Time for a crappy roll.
Well, it's still not as bad as the Basilisk. So you got a whole whopping 7. What did Sam get? Oh, Sam. There you go. Okay, so Dazan, the simulacrum. What is he going to do? He He is going to cast Acid Splash cantrip on the Basilisk.
Does he have anything in his hands?
The simulacrum?
Yeah.
He does not.
I'm going to call him Simi.
Okay.
He doesn't have a name, and he's a simulacrum, so...
So the Basilisk gets a DC 13 Dex save, fails with a 2, which means the Basilisk will take 2d6 acid damage for 8 points. That's not bad for Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And that's all. He's going to... He is going to move here and drop down behind this overturned table. And you see him averting his eyes from the Basilisk. Sam, what would you like to do?
I shall be very smart. And over here.
Okay.
And look directly at the Basilisk. Just noise, because I don't have anything.
I'm going to try and stare him down, man.
I'm going to intimidate him with my steely gaze.
So what are you going to do, Sam?
I'm casting Dissonant Whispers.
Okay, so he gets a wisdom save, is that right?
I don't know, it's been 2 weeks.
I know, right? Let me tell you, man, jet lag is a real thing. I am still not normal. Like right now, I think it's 11 o'clock. Like to my brain, it's 11:30. He gets a wisdom save. He only got a 10.
Haha, he takes 9 damage.
Okay.
You must immediately use its reaction if you're able to run away as far as the speed allows.
Okay.
So he's going to go over here or something.
Yeah, he's probably going to end up in that corner. He doesn't move real fast. He only has 20 feet of movement, which puts him almost exactly into that corner. All right. Anything with a bonus action or any more movement?
I'm going to move back over here. Keeping my eyes on this thing.
Okay, so he's essentially feared, correct?
No, just immediately goes, oh, I don't like that.
Oh, okay. So he's not under a fear effect.
One instant, it doesn't do anything.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to give inspiration
to
Turpin.
Okay.
A little musical note flits around you.
Okay.
So that's a D6. Is that correct?
We're level 5 still, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And it's just the regular one, right?
Yeah, it's not a combat inspiration, but so it goes to attack rolls and ability checks, I believe.
Yeah, attacks or saves.
Right.
Attack rolls or saves.
Right.
Yeah.
Or abilities.
Or ability.
Or ability. Oh, attack, ability. I had to make notes because I was like, oh my.
Yeah, combat inspiration is the only one that goes to damage.
Okay. All right, so I have a bardic inspiration,
and that's a D6.
Okay.
So Turpin, what would you like to do?
Well, I will say, everyone, it's a basilisk. It has a gaze attack.
Yes.
And I will cast darkness.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I'm going to cast it right about this spot. Let me make a circle. Darkness, I think, is 15 feet.
I believe so. Yes.
I don't know.
Hold on. I'll look.
I'm gonna have to look it up to be sure. I think it's 15.
I only have every D&D book ever made, so I might as well use them, right?
Yeah.
Darkness is a 15-foot radius sphere. So 30-foot diameter sphere.
Diameter, right. So 15 feet. Are these 5? No, these are 10 foots.
Don't pay attention to the squares. If you use the meter, which looks like the little upside down Q, that'll tell you. So this, let's see. So that blue line is 30 feet.
So that's how big it's going to be. So let's do that's about,
So, I mean, if you cast it in this corner, it will envelop the simulacrum.
Yeah. Hey, I was trying to draw the darn circle. Oh, my gosh. It's approximately that big.
Right.
All right. And let me delete that crap and go boom and.
Well, we can just move it.
I'm going to darkness there.
Okay.
And say, do not worry. The creature can't see through this, but I am able to. And I will move forward and grab the hand of Simi and say, "Come with me. I'll get you out of this darkness."
Okay, so you lead him back out.
Yeah, and say, "Just do not meet its gaze. I can kill it from here if you have area effect attacks.
Okay.
Fire at the back corner."
Okay. So anything with a bonus? Well, I mean, you kind of already went and grabbed him. So yeah.
I think it wasn't really a grab. It was more of a guide,
right?
A help.
So did you have anything with a bonus action that you wanted to do?
No. That's plenty.
Okay. Let's see. The basilisk is now in complete and total darkness, and he only has 3 directions that he can choose to go. Well, technically, he can choose to go 4 directions, and he may end up just running into the wall. And you know what? That's exactly what he does. He ends up further into this corner and is completely lost. I used the old school grenade rules. Just roll a d4 to see which direction it randomly rolls.
I like the d12 because, these kids with the digital clocks don't know how to use a d12.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. Then you can just do clock face directions. Yeah. I always just do a d4 because I'm like, they're either going to go north, south, east, or west. And I just ignore all the southeast or northwest or whatever. So, Dazan...
I will rattle off where I see it. It went to the corner.
He can't see it.
I have that warlock thing that lets me see through magical darkness.
He's going to do another acid splash into the darkness, which means that the basilisk can make his dex save with advantage. And still only gets a 3, which is better than the alternative, because the alternative was a nat 1. And so... the basilisk takes another 4 points of acid damage. Now, of course, out of this room, there is a door to your south, in case you want to completely retreat. Although, you guys seem to be doing okay. Sam, what would you like to do? Just to make this more realistic, I'll do this. So there's your darkness.
Well, you have to tell me where he is, because I can see through it.
No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I just pretend like I don't see it.
Yeah.
I'm telling
what?
you.
Use your imagination in a role-playing game? How absurd.
Yeah, what the heck, man?
That's very useful, but I have to see the enemy in order to do literally any of my spells.
Right.
Okay, well, I will say...
So I'm just gonna...
Barricades. Like if you're actually facing a 4-foot-long rat or something like that, you would probably want to pull the tables up around and make a defense between you and the freaking rat.
It's it's a medium-sized 8-legged lizard. Looks kind of like a really big iguana with 8 legs, except it's blue.
Well, I can very barely see this table, so I know that's there. So
You've got a point of reference.
Grabbing this table and just trying to make a barricade with it.
Okay.
The side over here.
Are you still a halfling?
Yes.
Go ahead and make a strength athletics check.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Nobody likes those.
16.
Okay, so you're able to grab this table and slide it out of the darkness and kind of build up a barricade that you can hide behind.
Enjoy how the fact that I'm a bard means I'm stronger than I would be without being a bard.
Probably, yes. Anything with a bonus action or any more movement?
Nope.
Okay. Turpin, what would you like to do? I mean, you can finger gun it all day.
First, I will unmute my microphone.
That's always good.
And I'm still rattling off where it is. It's in the back corner. And I move over to this spot. My bonus action is going to be to use telekinesis to pat it on, just to touch it, poke it with my telekinetic finger on the part of its body that's leading away from us.
Okay.
So that it thinks that there's something that's physical that's there to attack in the darkness.
It burns its reaction and attacks this wall.
Yeah, so I'm just going to keep poking at it from on the far side, so that it, if it's aggressive, it will move away from us.
Right.
And then I will finger gun it.
Okay, go for it.
And that's the first one. That's the second one. Wow, those are good rolls.
The first one hits.
So it did 9 points of damage. And some of that was fire. And the second one is all force, 14.
So, oh yeah, both of those hits. So another. Jeez. Okay. So the basilisk is not looking great. And it moves 20 feet. Oh, it's not quite far enough. Poop. To there.
Now, I'm pointing. I had my finger guns pointed at it, so I'm doing the who was that? John Travolta staying alive thing. With my finger
Yeah.
Pointing at this.
It's like if Staying Alive was directed by John Woo.
Out on the dance floor with the lasers coming out of John Travolta's fingertips.
Right. He can't really do anything else. I suppose he could dash. I mean, that's not going to do anything else for him, but it gets him out of the darkness. I'm going to attack the darkness. Dazan sees him come out.
Use the barricade. Don't let it see you.
Yeah, Dazan ducks behind the barricade, which I'll imagine is where Sam is.
That's definitely where Vaelish Gant is.
Yeah, Vaelish Gant is like ducked down and is like looking at the floor.
Hey, Eric, can you make a barricade thing? I can't do it on a Chromebook. I just end up double clicking. It's like a line.
He casts Magic Missile on the basilisk. 3 darts. For 9 points of damage that kills the basilisk. And the simulacrum turns to you guys and says, I apologize for that. Sometimes creatures sneak in through that fireplace over in the corner. This used to be a dining hall. I assure you, I wasn't attempting an ambush. That would certainly move against my goals.
And did I hear you right that he cast Magic Missile?
Yes, which used up one of his spell slots.
It is understandable. We've been concerned about creatures in here, so I'm not surprised that there are some. You went first. I'm not holding it against you.
So he moves over and opens up this door to the south. Hold on here.
Okay.
And you see that there is a long hallway. There is a door to the east, which you would already guess is the end of the spiral staircase. You would already know what's there. But this door, aside from that, there is a door to the south here and a door to the north at the end of the hall.
So, Simi, you've been exploring this area. Your creator has.
Yeah, well, Dazan didn't explore down this far, but since the simulacrum has had plenty of time to waste, he's been down here, and that's how he discovered the Rune Chamber. And he goes to the door leading to the north.
Okay. So how far down is the Rune Chamber? How far down have you gone?
This is the bottom. This is the quote-unquote bottom level, which is really the top of the tower.
Right.
Sam, are you... Excuse me. Are you following them, or are you going to the door to the south?
I'm following them.
Okay.
Never know when there's another escape.
True that.
Vermin are everywhere.
Yeah, I would definitely think of a basilisk as vermin. And so Dazan steps into this area, this is where all the cool shit happens. So the walls of this chamber are inscribed with interconnected runes and marred with cracks. What is now the ceiling bears similar inscriptions that swirl inward, converging around a golden crystal disc 5 feet in diameter.
So from outside that room, I asked Simi, so is this the room that would grant you real existence?
He says, indeed it is. This is the Rune Chamber. When he steps in to the room, an illusory figure appears upside down in the far corner of the room, standing on the ceiling. It looks exactly like the simulacrum. It appears to be the same long-faced human wizard depicted in the statues just inside the spire's entrance. It begins speaking in a strange, possibly forgotten language. You don't see that kind of behavior in a major appliance every day.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I speak Infernal and Dwarvish, but...
it is neither of those languages.
I doubt it's those.
Is it deep speech, primordial, or undercommon?
It is not.
Okay.
Well, so I remind Simi that we don't yet have the level of trust to enter into any ancient magical rituals with the guy, because that's like even more intimate than getting married.
So
and
Vaelish Gant steps in and he looks at Turpin and he goes, shh, I'm listening to what this thing is saying. He is speaking Loras, is a language favored by the wizards of Netheril. If I am correct, he says, behold my masterpiece. Here can illusions be made real, shadows become substance. Create your illusion, let it stand atop the crystal disc, and watch my rune chamber do its work.
Vaelish, are you sure you want to enter into that room where that is going to be powered by a vital spark?
So Vaelish, that's a good question. Vaelish Gant steps into the room and kind of examines everything and tells you the following. He says, The Rune Chamber can't produce magic items, animated objects, constructs, or undead. A life spark is needed to turn an illusory creature to a physical one, acting much like a spark of electricity. It gives the room the jolt it needs to complete the transformation. No component is needed for objects. The cracks in the wall have damaged enough of the runes to compromise the rune's magic, which might give rise to unexpected results. And so... he says, we don't know what's going to happen if we activate this. He says, I'd be willing to give my spark to see what happens.
That is some serious dedication to your craft.
He says, well, it is a Netherise magical device. There's a chance to learn much here.
So you think that the risk is worth it? If that's true, I am the oldest and have less to lose.
Okay, so you want to step in and use your spark? Is that...
At this point, yes, sure. I'll risk it.
Okay.
I mean...
So, Vaelish tells the simulacrum to stand on the crystal disc, and the chamber, you see all of the runes around the room of the chamber start to light up. And let's see what happens. This is a percentage dice roll.
I'm tying this to Turpin's fascination with magic, which is one of his characteristics.
Okay.
You aged 20 years.
No. A spark of magical electricity strikes the simulacrum, and the lights go out in the room, and standing before you appears to be a real person. It appears to be the real Dazan. And he says, oh, thank you, thank you.
It worked?
It worked.
Can I make a high quality top hat?
You have the illusion.
Yeah, you can go in and...
Illusions.
Yeah, you can, and you use a spark, and you now have a high quality top hat.
Sweet.
Objects don't require any material component. Dazan, the simulacrum, thanks you profusely.
Would you like to accompany us? We are traveling. We're here. You don't really have a... Now that you're real, you are probably needing food and shelter like the rest of us.
He says, oh, that's what that feeling is. Yes, in fact, I believe I am hungry.
Well, then perhaps let's find a suitable place, and we can make some food, warm it up on fire, and you can have your first meal.
Okay, so
we'll have a celebration of your new life.
Hold on just a moment here. I'll move you guys. Oh, you're already there. We will move you back here, and we will pick this up next week with, hopefully, Gabe will be able to join us, and we'll probably have Corey. So that'll be good. And we will pick up where we left off next week at 6 o'clock on Friday.
All right.
Good game, you guys. You guys did a good job for just two people.
Well, yeah, the best thing we did was not just instantly fireball the undead fighter and the simulacrum.
Right. Yeah. Kick open the door and blow the entire room.
Right.
That could have the potential for nastiness. The one thing that you did not see happen with the Rune Chamber, you didn't see any alternate effect. So there doesn't appear to have been any change as far as the everlasting rime or the cold, although you haven't been outside yet.
Well, and we haven't explored this place either. I don't think that doesn't seem to fit the, hey, there might be something to do with this cold.
Right. Well, I mean, that was just a rumor. You don't know. I mean, there was like an assumption like, oh, hey, it's a Netherise tower. And the Netherise were capable of all sorts of magical feats. So there was like an assumption that there would be something in here. That doesn't necessarily mean that there is.
Right. All right. Well, cool. We have food, and I think we probably have provided him enough service to warrant some of reward, but he also has to consider taking care of himself.
Yes.
Now, so we'll deal with all that stuff next week.
All right. I will see you guys next week then.
Thanks, and get some sleep and get over that jet lag.
Yeah. I gotta reprogram my brain. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.